Well, good morning. I just trekked over and found my 2 wrenches that I had yesterday in the telehandler. Need them to take this drive dog out. So this grain vac has let me down. These drive dogs down here. So this one right off the gearbox is rounded off. Those little nubs there. And then the flighting that they drive is out here on the ground already. You can see they're totally, but they have to be square or else they just hop over each other. And then once this flighting is loaded up with grain, it's quite violent actually. Like bang, 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 bang. And I guess my bolt already broke there because that just fell right off. But yeah, then it just blows the shear pin. So I gotta figure out, we gotta make that not happen. But in other news, things looking pretty doom and gloom in agriculture right now. Really, no matter who you talk to, it seems like there's there's a few percentage of people that made some very good decisions regarding crop selling and fertilizer buying, and then there's a whole bunch of us who didn't. So, and that select few is, from what we're hearing, is very select. And before anybody champions them, they were the same. Lots of them were the same group that missed out 2.5 years ago. So if you know anything about new age grain marketing, in order to get a delivery date off your combine, you most likely have to sell your grain a year early. A couple years ago, grain prices were kind of low, but they were the same as they had been for the last decade, right? They hadn't moved too much. So people weren't hesitant. They signed up like they always did, guaranteed themselves some delivery dates. And then all of a sudden, bang, harvest came and the prices went up and up and up and up and up, and then they just skyrocketed after harvest. And unfortunately, those folks, they had all their crop pre-sold. So we heard guys selling canola for 10, 11 bucks when some people were getting 26. We heard guys selling barley for $4 or $5 when guys were getting 10. Wheat for $6 when guys were getting 14, 17, whatever, right? So, but for those who stayed true to their historic marketing plan, this year they're doing way better because they sold their grain last winter at these high prices still, and they delivered them off the combine at the high prices still, and the grain prices have been going down steadily ever since. So it's always, to me, I always laugh when I hear a producer or whatever get on the radio or get in the newspaper, or even, I don't go to the coffee shop hardly ever, but when I hear about them at the coffee shop and they're cocking off about how smart they are, it's funny that they never include the 99% of the time they were wrong, just the 1% of the time we were right. So we are on the wrong side this time. We did, because of our marketing plan, we were able to capitalize 2.5 years ago when we binned all our grain and we waited till February, March to sell it. And by then you had basically seen the peaks. We never hit the top of anything, but I mean, we were right there. You know, we were right in the snow part of the mountain. So this year we're paying for it. We are going to be in the bottom end. And I guess that's just how farming is, right? It's a generational thing. It's a long game. You don't get too, you can't get too discouraged by it. You do the best you can. Fortunately, I did sell like half of my canola last week and the week before. We've moved out quite a bit of other grains in bags and stuff like that. So we're not totally exposed and beaten. We're just like, we're severely bruised, I guess, at this point. So we will keep on keeping on. Anything can happen. I was reading some articles. I don't understand what's happening with grain prices. It doesn't make sense to me. For every article that says crops were better than average in these little areas, there's an article that says crops were worse than average in these other areas. So to me, it should have come out as a wash, just like it did on our farm. We had some good yields on our barley. We had some bad yields on our barley. Good on the wheat, bad on the wheat, whatever. So our peas were basically just a below average crop. So, like I say, we kind of, at the end of the day, when you pencil it all out, you ended up just with an average year. That's what we should have ended up with, I think, across North America. But the one thing that I do read about, and I do think is probably playing the biggest part, is commodity traders, money managers, hedge fund managers manipulating the market based on information that they have, and some of that information is weather related. I think most of it is political, right? Trade agreements, trade tariffs, foreign policy, things like that. You have BRICS, right? That's Brazil, Russia, India, China, several other countries. They're doing their own thing. They're tired of the West meddling and trying to educate them in things that they didn't ask to be educated in. We have terrible leadership in the West. Terrible. I don't care where you sit on the political spectrum. That doesn't matter. We should all be able to agree that our leadership in North America as a whole is terrible. It's failed on almost all fronts. And I am one who can give I can give a dog a bone, right? Even a broken clock is right twice a day. Not everything has been a complete disaster, but by and large, and especially in the last 2-3 years, nobody from the lowest, most insignificant levels of government, right at your municipal levels, your councils and your mayors, and right up to the big chief at the federal level, the whole way has been a total disaster on all sides of the spectrum too. It's just all they've shown us is that nobody can answer a question, nobody can make a good decision, but everybody's really good at taking holidays, really good at spending public tax dollars, and really good at lining their own pockets. That's and then slinging mud and insulting each other. That's all that they're good at. So I think that's got more to do with the turmoil than actual production and quality. But that's my little rant about that. Kids are off to school. My mom was out here this morning, picked up Corey to take her to town. She's got to pick up her car that's getting fixed at the dealership. And then she's going to pick up the rad that Dad took out the other day that's repaired. She's going to pick up, I don't know, some other stuff. And then they'll be back. So it's just me here right now. Dad's on his way out from his house. We're going to take apart this grain back, try to get it back together. One thing that kind of made me laugh, and I've been telling lots of people about it because, I don't know, it was insane to me. I feel like a bit of an old soul even, like how much it affected my day. But when we dropped Corey's car off on Sunday, I needed a new chore coat. Mine were destroyed. So I was going to go over to Mark's Warehouse. It's a workwear store up here. And when I worked on the rig, that's always where I went to get my stuff. So, okay, well, we'll head over there, get a chore coat. And couldn't really find anything that I liked. So I thought, you know what? I got this coat right here. That is my good town coat. That's about 10 years old, been washed too many times. Doesn't really hold the heat in anymore. It's not a good winter jacket. So I'll repurpose this one. I'll use this one as my chore coat and I'll buy myself a new good coat. So I'm looking, I found a green one that I like, $320. I just about fell over. I was like, okay, well, we're not doing that. That's insane. So I was looking down the line, I found one, it was $249.99. So basically $250, right? So for $570, you could buy 2 jackets, right? And if you're a couple and you need new jackets, it's $570 to buy 2 winter jackets. And they're not work ones, they're just winter ones, just like town ones. So then I got looking and I was like, holy cow, these are 50% off. And then I seen a little yellow tag up on top of the clothing rack, 25% off of the sale price. So long story short, for $220, I walked out with 2 jackets that would have regular cost $570. Then I got to looking. Most of our grain prices wholesale are under $350 a ton. So it would cost a ton of grain to buy a coat. Totally insane. Back to how shitty our governments are. They've been feeding us little bones and throwing us little bones and trying to trick us into thinking they're doing a good job. One thing recently that I received in the mail was the carbon tax rebate. And I think it was like $477. Made me laugh, right? Because they think they're doing this good job. Well, we're going to give the Canadians back some of this carbon tax money, which we've already paid. So we'll give them a little bit back. That wasn't even enough for me and my wife to go buy new jackets. Like, it's totally insignificant. These people are totally out of touch with reality and the cost of living. So, anyways, that's a little side story. But if you need a jacket and you're up here, apparently Mark's has a tremendous sale right now. Also irritates me that they can put them on sale that much, because you'd be naive to think they're losing money, right? They just put them on sale and they make less of a profit. So if they can be profitable at $220 for 2 jackets, why do they need to charge us $570 all winter long until the end of season sales come on? That's kind of garbage too. But I guess it's all about, right, corporate profits and shareholders and blah, blah, blah. So anyways, I'm going to get at this. Like I say, this morning was a lot of fertilizer talk, Corey and I, we made our crop plan. She booked some fertilizer, booked some inoculant. We booked some chemical. From what we're understanding, our retailers have basically bought now. So the risk of buying too early and seeing fertilizer tumble another $100 or a few $100 a ton, it's not going to happen, because especially the independent that we buy from, like they've said, they've already bought it. So they already basically need to get out of it what they're charging us now, which I think was, I don't know, $1,300 a ton or something. I could have that wrong. Corey actually handles all that stuff. So anyways, it's done. It's done. It's priced in now. We've eliminated some acres of some crops, canola being one, upped some acres of some others, and that's a double-edged sword, because when you make your plan now, you have no idea what the market's going to be like in the fall. I mean, if everybody stops growing canola could go back to 26 bucks. I don't see it, but I mean, it could, right? So you can't be too reactionary either, because ag is a long game. So we haven't changed our acres too terribly much. We've just, just a little bit here and there. But that was an all morning thing. Also, yesterday we did a germ on a bunch of our crops. So we got, we know our barley all made malt, so it all grows. It's 99% germ. The wheat I expect will grow. The peas will grow, but we've put them in their wet paper towels anyways. Leave them for 3-4 days, see if they sprout. We've done that with all our crops. We are going to change our wheat variety this year, so we'll end up with 2 wheat varieties, 1 oat variety, 1 barley variety, 1 pea variety, and whatever they can find reasonable for canola. But I'm not getting anything done with the phone in my hand, so I'm going to go peel that drive dog out and see if I can repair it enough that the grain vac will work again. All right, well, we've got the gearbox out. So as you can see, right, these dogs, maybe you can't see, they're like rounded right off. And well, it's pretty sad. Like it was pretty sad design. See what they had before, find one of these, they're supposed to lock onto each other. This won't fit because it's for the flighting, not for this part. Or maybe it is, I don't know. Anyways, they're all bunged up because it's too soft a metal. But they're supposed to drive against each other. And when they're not straight and they're rounded, they just skip over one another. And there's like, well, this is 1 set, 2, 3, there's 3 sets of these. So you have all that play and all that bounce. And the old grain vac had a, this one here, these are worn right off. The old grain vac had a system where instead of like that, they had pins welded down on the outside. And I'm not 100% sure why, when REM upgraded to the VRX or changed the model or whatever, why they went to these drive dogs that just wear out. So those pins, they came to a point as well. So if they were to bring up on one another, they would skip over each other, and it would still make a flat connection for the flighting. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to weld those pins back on. You don't need much. Something like I had a little piece of something like this is really all you need. Maybe a little bit bigger. We got lots of leftover pieces, but I'll get Dad to do that when he gets here, because right now I'm going to go over and make up some feed. So we have been having, beautiful weather, that's undeniable, but it is still cold in the mornings, and I haven't been plugging anything in. So usually by noon, by 1 o'clock, it's already back to about -2 or 0 or something. I'll make a few bags, make 5 or 6 bags for the day, have them ready, and then while I'm waiting for folks to come pick up their molasses or come pick up their bags, that's when I start to do these repairs again. I don't know if that's efficient or not or whatever, but it's my idea of efficiency, time management. So speaking of that, my good buddy Stan, the gentleman farmer over on, he's on YouTube as well. We have a joint channel called Smoke and Oak, and we've done quite a few lives over the last couple of years. We try to do them in the winter every 2-3 weeks. In the summer, of course, we don't get to the lives very often, and that's all that channel's about. It's him and I. We get dressed up, talk about all topics: men's health, men's fashion, lots of stuff farm related because we're both in ag. We were both, well, he's still in the oil patch. I was in the oil patch, so we have that in common. It's really fun. We sit down, we go on live, we have ourselves a nice glass of scotch and a nice cigar. We'll talk about anything. We've done lives on time management on the farm, things like that. All of that skill building stuff, if you will. Picking other folks' brains. It's been good for me, I know that. So if you're looking for something that's not just the regular old programming that we're seeing on the internet or on the news in 2024, I would encourage you to go over, check out that channel. Again, it's called Smokin' Oak. We'd love your support if you could go subscribe to that channel, check out some of the lives, join us for an actual live. If you leave some comments in the live chat, we enter your name in at the end of the draw, or at the end of the live for a draw. We've given away some Smokin' Oak coffee cups, Smokin' Oak whiskey glasses. We had Smokin' Oak sweaters. So pretty fun, pretty interactive, stress-free. As they say on YouTube, that's the the cheapest support you can ever give. It costs you nothing to go over there and subscribe and like a few videos. Helps us out tremendously. But that's that. So that was my morning. Grain prices, fertilizer prices, a little bit of grain vac repair. I'm going to get my mill fired up. I'm going to make a few bags, and we'll see if there's any more footage for the end of the day. If not, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all on the next one.